Psalms 11, verse 14 says, where there is no guidance, a people fall, but in the abundance of counselors there is safety. With these words, I greet you, Jamaica, the diaspora, and the world, in the powerful name of God Almighty. I am the great defender. We come again to address the deplorable behavior of our leadership in Jamaica and the incapable attempts that are being made to govern our country properly. And the case in point, one particular politician from the ruling party who came out being racist towards the leader of the opposition party. And I just like to put it out there that this is one of the main problems we're having in Jamaica, where for over the years, the complexion of our skin has hampered a lot of us in the Jamaican society. It used to be the dark-skinned people, you never used to get any form of privilege or preference. Now it seems like it's the other way around. But I would like to say to the man, Mr. Warmington, or whatever his name is, you should know better than to make a statement as inflammatory as that one. This is the kind of thing that we cannot afford to have in our society. We need leadership with class. We need leadership that are calm, cool, and collected, that can calculate the position of our country and navigate through the rough seas even without a GPS. You need steady leadership. We don't need this kind of arrogance. However, I am not getting into your fights. We have bigger things to think about. We have a country to save. The wayward leadership that we have seen, and we see the weakness in the present government, that they cannot even condemn an inflammatory statement by their own. They are hushing and tiptoeing around the matter. So it goes to show that if you're big enough and have enough money, then you're always right, even when you're plenty wrong. And this is the kind of culture we have to get out of our Jamaican society, because we want a country that the people of the country can be respectful one to another and be a productive nation because they feel like they are an important nation. And I want to stress the importance of feeling important. The poor people of Jamaica have been mistreated throughout history. We see it in the justice system where the judges, if you have enough money, somehow you come off as innocent. Somehow, even when a man is guilty of many murders, if he can afford a high-priced lawyer, and somehow it seems like the judge questions the hard work of the police officers, who I think some of them are doing a commendable job. Their CTOC seems to me that is a very effective unit that seems to be going around and they're doing their homework. I want to commend them for that. Then the leadership of the CTOC seems to have its men in the right order. And if we could maintain that without political interference, then that's a step in the right direction. However, the judiciary of Jamaica, the judges are made the poor people feel not important. It seems like the ones with the money, they keep getting away. And the ones that are poor and have no money, they get thrown away. But the nation building that we must move towards now, because some people will tell you, oh, the nation is built. No, it's not built yet. The government lacks the vision and the approach to develop the place properly. And the minds of the people is what we have to develop first. You see, it's very important to make our people feel important. Make them know they're a part of a nation building, that now you're participating in the new phase of Jamaica, which is nation building. This is a new phase that we have to get the people involved. We have to educate the people free of cost. Let me challenge the school system, for example, the CXC. One student gets 8, he feels important. One student gets 2, he feels that he is not important. And so the disparity in how we treat people because of a few subjects, it's evident. And I've been through that as a young man. My parents could not afford a lot of CXCs, so the few that they could afford, you have to take them 2 years apart, a year apart, because they could only afford 3 this year, they can afford 2 next year or 4 next year, and so forth. So in order to get, say, 8 subjects, you might have to sit 2 years of CXCs because they cannot afford it. And I say to the government that Jamaica is one of the only countries in the world where you pay school fees in public high schools. Most countries in the world, public high schools are free. And this is where the economic base of the country has been distorted, because the parents would have saved that money to send them on to colleges or universities. Instead, it's all burnt up in high school. And when they come out of high school, that's it. The parents are exhausted. So we have to put a system in place where high schools are free so they can save their money for the colleges and universities, for career education, as I might put it. That money should go towards career education, and the high schools should be free. So there has to be a reorganization of the whole educational system. That's number one. The culture, again, of violence must be stamped out of the schools. There have to be people trained. Take some of the same people that are not working and train them in social services and put them in the schools to help to curb the minds of the youths, so that now they can channel their thinking towards civil discourse, towards becoming good civilians. The culture is very important. You have to now put your population in grids and let them work for the country. Print local currency and let the people be well paid. So you've got to grid them up, put them in sections like squads, and utilize them to develop the country. The importance of feeling important is very important, if I make sense. We look at the crime fighting strategies of the country. The government refused to bring in the necessary tools that are needed to stamp it out once and for all. And some of the main thing that has to be done is that some of the politicians who are deeply involved in with gangs have got to be called out. They have got to be called out because they are giving strength to evil. And so we have a country that seems to want justice for the weak and the poor. But once you can come up with some money and pay the right lawyer who is a golf mate of the right judges, then your murders get swept under the rug and you walk free. And the judicial system is one of the main causes of crime in Jamaica because it is weak and incompetent. The judges in Jamaica are a joke. They give a harsher sentence for a man who doesn't wear his mask than for murder. And what they give people for murder is basically saying, you are right, that a man will murder and he doesn't do more than 2 years. So the first thing that the government will have to do is build a couple of, maybe 3 or 4 maximum security facilities. Maximum security facilities. And we need a national monitoring center that monitors what goes on in these prisons. By now, the man who is in charge of the correctional unit in Jamaica should have been called out as to the slackness that goes on behind in the prisons, and probably fired. The prison warders who are supplying prisoners with phones and things should be put in the same cell with them. Put them in there for 30 days so that they can understand that what they're doing is wrong. There's too much wrong without punishment. And punishment is the deterrent for the wrong. So we have to begin to penalize people for their wrongs. And so the importance of feeling important is something that the government must master, the art of making the people feel important. You would take the people, stop calling the men who take the garbage, for example, on the garbage trucks, they call them garbage men, which is wrong. They are sanitation workers. They're keeping the country clean. So they are sanitation workers. In other countries, they're called sanitation workers. In Jamaica, you call them garbage men. That is, right away, you're making it seem like such men are not important, and such men are very important to the development of a country. And such men should be given the benefits they need to take care of themselves and their families when they get older and sick. We have people in the police force who have put out years of service, and then when they get old and sick, they have to be begging donations. This is a disgrace. The government should have systems in place that these men, after they have toiled and risked their lives for the country, should be properly taken care of in their retirement stage. And this is one of the areas that we believe must be fixed in Jamaica. The importance of feeling important. We have to fix these areas. Our elderly and retirees are not treated with the respect and dignity that they deserve. And therefore we have, as a country, we are obligated to fix these wrongs, to right these wrongs, and to make our country a better place for our elderly and retirees. It is sad. It is a sad state. Like I said, we spoke of the inflammatory remarks of the politician. I won't even repeat his name. It's a disgrace to be calling such a name over and over. I mean, it's just on a very classless behavior, a very dunce statement. And the ruling party just sits with it. It troubles me to know that such nonsense is tolerated. And it tells you how incompetent a leadership we have in our lovely Jamaica. And I want to say to Jamaicans, begin to look for new leadership. It doesn't matter who you vote for this time. This crop of politicians are not getting it done. And with those words, Until next time, like, share, and subscribe. Spread the word so it can be heard. And let us come together and build a beautiful country. Thank you.